Good evening, I'm Emma Jane Vere and this is Television Tonga News. In the headlines, Tonga and China strengthens its ties while marking the Chinese New Year in the Kingdom. New Zealand government provides more than 2 million paanga to the Kingdom. And police arrest 3 people for the planting and sale of marijuana. These and more stories, including news from the Pacific, sports, world and the weather information later on in this bulletin. Let's take a look at the news in detail. Tonga and China strengthens its ties while marking the Chinese New Year in the Kingdom. Their Majesties and members of the royal family officiated in a ceremony last night to mark the Chinese New Year. The reception was held at the International Dateline Hotel. Sini Latu was there and filed this report.
Their Majesties King Tupou VI and Queen Onaspa'u at a special reception to mark Chinese New Year. Their Royal Highnesses Crown Prince Tupoto'a Olukalala and Crown Princess Sinai Takala also attended the event, along with China's new ambassador to Tonga, His Excellency Huang Huaguang, and his wife. In a speech from the Honourable Acting Prime Minister Sami Vaipulu on behalf of the Tongan government, he said Tonga and China's relationship has grown from strength to strength throughout the years. He added that Tonga has benefited from numerous assistance from China to different sectors such as health, education, aviation, trade, and much more.
His Majesty's government and the people of Tonga has benefited greatly from China's economic and technical cooperation program that focuses on national development. Priority areas comprising of economic development, aviation, health, tourism, trade, education, agriculture, defense, and key infrastructure. Your Excellency, His Majesty's government and the people of Tonga appreciate the prompt assistance of the Chinese government and the Chinese community here in Tonga after the devastating strike of Cyclone Ian in the Ha'apai Group.
In remarks from His Excellency Huang Huaguang, Tonga is a close friend of China in the Pacific Islands region.
Tonga is China's close friend and trustworthy partner in the Pacific Islands region. Over the past 15 years, our two countries have enjoyed frequent high-level exchanges, ever-increasing political trust, growing cooperation in many fields, as well as good communication and coordination in international and regional affairs. What I would like to stress particularly is that last November, His Majesty graced us with his presence in our activities of celebration for the 15th anniversary of the establishment of the China-Tonga diplomatic relations and gave new vigor to the friendship and cooperation between our two countries. The facts proved that the development of China-Tonga relationship serves the fundamental interests of our two people and contributes to the stability and prosperity in the Pacific Islands region.
The Chinese ambassador to Tonga again vowed to further advance the bilateral ties between the two governments and their people. Also attending the reception were ministers of the Crown, diplomatic corps, representatives from the Chinese community in Tonga, amongst other guests. This year's Chinese New Year is the Year of the Horse. For Television Tonga News, I'm Sini Latu.
His Majesty King Tupou VI arrived safely at Kaufana Airport in Ewa this morning. Television Tonga News stringer in Ohonua, Setalek Tukia, says this is His Majesty's second official visit to Ewa after the King returned to Nuku'alofa last Saturday. Setalek Tukia says His Majesty is on the island to oversee the royal family's forestry projects which are underway. Traditional presentations of gifts or a ha'unga was held to the Royal Palace of Heilala Tangtangi upon His Majesty's arrival. Also in Ewa is His Royal Highness Prince Ata, Lord Luani and other guests from Tongatapu. The New Zealand government gives its ongoing support to the Hatbai recovery efforts on the island. A commitment of 1.7 million New Zealand dollars, which is worth more than 2.5 million paanga, is granted to Tonga. Here's Whanonga Veikoso with more on that story.
The Honourable Acting Prime Minister Sami Waipulu and New Zealand's High Commissioner to Tonga, His Excellency Mark Talbot, signed the monetary assistance of 2.5 million paanga. This is directed at the relief efforts underway for victims of Tropical Cyclone Ian and the Hatbai Group of Islands.
We have come in behind them to support them with about 1.4 million New Zealand dollars. In addition, we're providing 300,000 New Zealand dollars to help get some extra linesmen up here from New Zealand to help accelerate the process a little bit. So it's about 1.7 million New Zealand for the power reconstruction project up in Hatbai. The other portion of money was for agriculture, and there it's all about providing a little bit of money to help begin the process of clearing the land and beginning to plough the field.
The New Zealand High Commissioner to Tonga speaks more about how the financial grant will be delegated.
The arrangement in agriculture is that the money will go to the Ministry of Agriculture, Food, Forestry and Fisheries, and they will be involved in getting tractors to Hatbai, getting the ground cleared, getting the ploughing done and getting the seeds growing again through MAF. The other grant is to the Government of Tonga, who will then help fill Tonga Power Limited's budget.
The signing of the grant was held at the National Emergency Management Office on Nemo. For Television Tonga News, I'm Whanonga Veikoso.
Hatbai's Noble Representative No. 2 to Parliament, Lord Tui Hateho, emphasised the importance for the Hatbai residents to move on and not dwell on the devastation caused by Tropical Cyclone Ian to their lives. Whadai Whainga'a has more on that story.
Hatbai's Noble Representative No. 2 to Parliament, Lord Tui Hateho, visited Hatbai last week and is hopeful for a positive recovery for the Hatbai Group of Islands. I'm not looking at negative impacts of the cyclone in Hatbai. I'm focusing on the morale of the Hatbai people, which is very low. It's important we try and lift the spirits and morale of the Hatbai people and the residents in my estate, Hateho City, who've lost everything in the cyclone. They need to look forward and make preparations for a good future. He adds that it's also his role as a leader to encourage the people to look forward for a more positive future and build up their lives again. I haven't had an opportunity to speak to all the people in Hatbai, only the people in Hateho City. We planned something light-hearted, so we had a picnic at the beach in order to help lift their spirits. I know many of them are still in shock after the cyclone and they need to be encouraged to move on with their lives. Lord Tui Hateho thanked the government, stakeholders, donor agencies and all who've contributed in Hatbai's recovery efforts in the aftermath of the cyclone. For Television Tonga News, I'm Whadai Whainga'a.
Police have arrested a 17-year-old teenage boy from Nagola who's alleged of planting and the possession of 41 marijuana plants valued at more than 1,000 paanga. This is confiscated from his allotment in Fuamotu as a result of police investigation. He appeared in the magistrate court this morning. Anasiu Falekano tells you more.
The acting superintendent of the Nuku'alofa Police Station, David Tafifita, told Television Tonga News that a police raid was made after a warrant was issued from court. In addition, 5 packets of marijuana were confiscated by police, where 1 packet is valued at 100 paanga. The acting superintendent says this is the 3rd such marijuana substance to be confiscated since the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, police investigation discovered a young person in possession of 15 marijuana plants. That person appeared in the magistrate court and is waiting to appear in the Supreme Court. In a separate case, another teenager from Waini was taken into custody for possession of marijuana. It's clear that more young people are planting these illegal plants for selling and distribution. It will have a negative influence on our youth and the nation. The acting superintendent reminded the public of the laws which prohibits the plant and sale of illegal substances. According to the law, there are legal consequences if you plant, sell, or are found in possession of illegal substances such as marijuana and cannabis. You will find yourself in court and they will decide your punishment. For Television Tonga News, I'm Manasiu Falegaono.
From the Magistrate Court, submissions were made from the prosecutor in court yesterday regarding 2 Asians who are alleged of being in possession of forged or false passports. From this submission, the magistrate will then determine whether there's enough evidence to hold a trial. The ruling for the submission will be heard on Monday, February 3rd. The accused is an Asian woman called Min Wang of China who resides at Kolomodua. She is alleged for possession of a forged passport and not having the authority to possess a forged passport. The second accused is an Asian man, Na Yang Chen, who's been charged with 3 counts of abetting a crime and 3 counts of masterminding or persuading a person to possess and use forged documents for travel or a forged passport. Both the accused were intercepted by police at Fomotu International Airport as they tried to depart Tonga last October 15th. Min Wang is accused of arriving in Tonga with a Chinese passport and departing Tonga using a Tongan passport under a different name. The magistrate ruled last October 16th for both the accused to be taken into police custody before they appeared before the magistrate court on the 23rd of October. They were released on bail of 2,000 pa'anga each. The magistrate will deliver their ruling next Monday. William Clive Edwards Jr. is the legal counsel for Chang, while Leslie Natonga represents Min Wang. The father of a 19-year-old girl who died when she fell off a moving vehicle last Saturday was released on bail yesterday. The driver of the vehicle was her father, Lafaele Pome'e. He's been charged for manslaughter after his daughter, Emeline, died due to severe head injuries from her fall. Information from the magistrate office confirms that Lafaele Pome'e was released on bail to attend his daughter's funeral. Her body was sent to Vava'u yesterday for burial. Police information reveals that the deceased fell off the vehicle when the driver swerved to avoid hitting a pig that unexpectedly crossed in front of him. Emeline was riding in the vehicle with her mother and 2 sisters. This is the first fatal road incident recorded for this year. A temporary rubbish dump has been established for the debris and waste left behind by Tropical Cyclone Ian in Ha'apai. The officer in charge of the Ministry of Lands, Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources in Ha'apai, Malakai Finau, confirms that the dump site is not affecting the environment nor people's health. Sinilatu has the details.
The temporary rubbish dump in Ha'apai is called Nuku'anga and located at Tongoleleka. The rubbish dump is safe. It does not affect the environment or the people's health. It's further away from the residential homes. We have held consultations with the health officer here, Mosese Fifita, on this issue leading to its setup. Mr. Finau says they're also looking at how best to dispose of other waste. The plastic bags that can be recycled are collected with plans to ship it over to georecycling in Tongatapu. We also put aside electronic waste like wires and computers. The officer in charge of the Ministry of Environment reminds Ha'apai residents to collect and dump their rubbish in the allocated areas. For Television Tonga News, I'm Sinilatu.
That's the local news. Pacific is up next.